Of a roadmap, not only for tonight. Tonight's going to be different than the other nights that we have. Tonight we're going to kind of hold it to an hour and then be dismissed. Next month we're going to move to an hour and a half, and want to kind of give you that heads up. We'll go from 6:30 to around 7:15 or 7:30. In here, worshiping together, opening God's Word together. And then we're going to break out. We're going to have tables set up in the grand lobby, and we're going to break out in groups. Now, don't get nervous about that. I know if you're like me, I'm not a big let me break out around a table kind of guy. That's not the way I am built. I would rather sit in a corner all by myself than to get around a table. And y'all might think, well, that's not good news. You're a pastor. God's grace is sufficient. But we're going to get around tables, and one of the reasons we're going to do that is, number one, many of you don't know many of you. Not really. You've seen each other. You've said hi to each other. You've passed in the hall together. But you don't know each other, and we need to bridge the distance between a casual hello and community, fellowship, family. The tables help us accomplish that. The second thing that I hope comes out of the table conversations is cross-pollination among generations. How many of you are here today under the age of 30? Go ahead and raise your hand if you're under the age of 30. Some of you got wishful thinking. That's good. If you're between the age of 30 and 50, raise your hand. Another good group, that's great. If you're 50 and older, raise your hand. Right, okay. And of course, that's the biggest span, right? But here's the thing. Those who are under the age of 30 need to get around those who are over the age of 60. And they need to understand and appreciate and learn from the experience of men who have walked a path that they have not. The flip side's also true. Men over the age of 50 need to get around men under the age of 30 just to get a glimpse of the passionate purpose that these men have to see the world different than it is today. And we need to understand each other. We need to grow together. Next month, we're going to be looking, and you can go ahead and get ahead of this, but next month, we're going to be looking at 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. And in that passage, we find 7 traits for faithful men. And part of those 7 traits, as we go through it, we learn that there is a term that should characterize all of us. It's Philadelphia in the Greek, the name for the city that we have. There was a football team that played in some game, but Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. That term Philadelphia in the Greek, and as it's used in 2 Peter, describes brotherly affection. More than that, a loyalty among family. And God has put us in a family of faith, and we learn loyalty toward one another, and we grow in that loyalty toward one another so that the generational divide is erased as we find brotherhood together. And that's one of the 7 traits that we're going to be looking at next month. So we'll have the breakout tables, one, to get to know each other, to develop relationship together. Number 2, to cross generational lines. And then number 3, not least important by any measure, where we can learn to apply what God speaks to us through His Word by His Spirit. Key questions that we ask each other around those tables. And perhaps I'm one of these guys, I don't think accountability can be forced. I think accountability flows along the lines of a relationship. But my prayer is that as we sit around tables together, that over time we develop relationship to where we can find accountability together. And accountability is sorely lacking. It's sorely lacking. And so this is one of those avenues where we can find accountability together. So those are the three primary reasons for the tables. That begins next month. March 21st, mark it on your calendar. Think of who you can invite. And this is a question you're going to hear us asking over and over and over again. Who are you inviting to church? Well, this is a great opportunity to invite someone to join us here and find friendship among peers and people, common ground. So think about who you can invite. That's next week. All right.